This is a little video on understanding our creating our blog sites for Digital Art 245. It's going to cost around $25 to do this. I misspoke when I said it. You can actually do it for free, but it's such a pain in the butt. You can actually get a DNS, a domain name, for free. But you will need to host your site somewhere, and I'm recommending Bluehost to do that. So in a quick, the big 5 main steps for creating your own web page: pick a name for your site, find a place for you to register that site, and then a place to host it, which is a place that's going to keep all of your web data on a server and keep it available for the World Wide Web to read through a browser. Then you're basically going to pick a blog creation site, and the blog creation sites are many. There's Wix, there's Tumblr, there's Squarespace, there's WordPress, which is what I'm going to use for this class because it's easy and it has a lot of options that people can access. And then you're going to launch your site, and then you're going to send your site address to me so that I can create a class page for our critiques. When we talk about DNS, a domain name service system is a system that was created a long time ago when computers started to talk to each other, and they have these addresses. And I think we're using IPv4 right now. We're trying to get up to IPv6, which will have a hexadecimal separation between the IP addresses, which it's sort of the problem with phone numbers, right? You have to think of it as area codes, and then things get bigger and bigger. And these are the addresses to which websites talk to servers, which are computers that hold, folders or databases filled with HTML, JavaScript, you name it. Okay, and so the Internet Protocol that is used through browsers, like a hypertext transfer protocol, can read the information on your website. And nobody needs to code anything anymore. But more or less, a website is a page that it looks like a page because it has a bunch of code behind it, which is telling the computer how to present the information. And it does that in 2 ways. It does it through text and hypertext, which are links. And then it also uses a thing called a marking up language. And a markup language is kind of a design language, like put a paragraph here, indent it there, make it justified here, and so on. It's kind of all the behind the scenes stuff that goes on that you don't even notice because you think, oh, it's just like typing on a typewriter. But in fact, there's a lot of code behind the scenes that has to be done. The one thing you're going to want to choose a name. And when you choose a name, I recommend Bluehost, which works quite well with WordPress. Some hosting services will also have domain name services. And what a domain name system service is it's a way of translating your computer's IP address into, or an IP address, for example, that would be living on a server somewhere. Translating that IP address number into a alphanumeric name, like it could be kittycats.org or something along those lines. So decide what you'd like to do, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go to Bluehost or HostGator or something like that, and then what they're going to do is they're going to try and figure out whether or not your website, the name that you picked, is available. And I have some videos on Canvas that you guys can see about how I went through the process of purchasing my domain name. And then I also purchased some hosting for a website, just to show you guys. The word blog came about. People use it. It's a combination of the word web log, and it was primarily a really basic, almost along the lines of like a what are those mail server type things where you just scroll down, and the logs were able to be updated and from on the fly through the web, which was really neat. So you could get news like right up to date and things like that. But you had to be relatively technically savvy at first, and then we started having companies pop up, which allowed you kind of out of the box tools to create your own site and then make it super simple to just put it somewhere, make it available, just so long as you follow a few rules. So I put this together for you guys, so you can kind of get a visual on how this is all separated. So it all starts right here. It's your ideas, it's your computer and money, right? $25 at least to get going. And I'll talk to you about how to avoid other stuff later on. But consider this a small investment in a really important skill that I think you will not regret having. So the first thing is, figure out what kind of website you want to make. .com websites are for commercial sites that more likely will be doing transfers of money or returns or that kind of thing. A .net is an open source platform. You can do all kinds of things on a .net. A .org, if you're an organization, there are certain parameters for meeting the ability to take a .org, for example. It's a little more complex, and there are many others. So what you're going to do then is, once you think up your name, you're going to go to one of these companies over here, DNS Services. Again, we're just going to go with one. I'm going to go with Bluehost, and those are the videos that I'm going to make. I don't have any investment in Bluehost. I have no investment in WordPress. It was just the cheapest and the most available way that I could teach you guys how to make web pages for our class. And then what you need to do is you need to once your web pages, you know that your name is available, then you're going to pick a site or a company that gives you the tools or an interface to build your content. So for example, if you're going to build content, if you're going to write a story, you need something like Microsoft Word. In this case, since you're building a website, you go on the web and you pick one of the sites that are designed to build websites, like WordPress, Wix, and so on. All right. Some of the domain name services and I used Bluehost to hold my site and buy my domain name, and then through Bluehost I used their tools. I'll show you that in a video next.